Horry and Georgetown counties, we welcome you back to Sound Off. Again, heard weekly on your favorite radio station. It is always our goal at Sound Off to deal with topics that are relevant to our young people and relevant to our community. And we are really excited once again to have as our very special guest, Robert Harris, who's a senior at Coastal Carolina University. But before we talk to you, Mr. Harris, I would like for the Sound Off crew, introduce yourselves again.
Hello, good morning. This is Raekwon. How are y'all? I'm good.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your girl Mercedes.
Good morning, everyone. This is Avriel.
Good morning, everybody. Wake up. It's Ishmael.
And once again, my name is Claudine Lance Schofield, but more importantly, we are really excited to have with us as our very special guest, Mr. Robert Harris. Good morning to you, Mr. Harris. Y'all give it up to Mr. Harris.
Good morning.
Talked to us in the first segment about the drumline. Now we're going to talk about a wonderful mentoring group called AAIM.
Yes, ma'am.
Which stands for African American Initiative for Males.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, you are the founding member or the founder of this group?
One of the founding members. It was 5 of us total. The group started when I was a sophomore, and we had 2 seniors, and it was 2 other sophomores along with me, so 5 of us total.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And, Robert, we watch the news, and, of course, you interact with college students every day, and we know a lot of negative things have been taking place as it relates to our African-American males. And so I'm excited that you will be able to share some information that will be beneficial about the positive things that your group is trying to do. So I guess the first thing I want to do is would you tell Horry and Georgetown counties, how did, you talked about the fact that it started in your sophomore year, but where was this group birthed out of? I mean,
Yes.
The idea of coming up with a mentoring group.
Okay, well, all of the guys that were in African American Initiative for Males pretty much got this start out of Leadership Challenge under the direction of Ms. Pat Singleton Young. Of course, Ms. Pat Singleton Young is very driven. She wanted the African American males to make a stand on campus, not as a fraternity, but as a separate organization. So Mr. Travis Overton, who is currently our Dean of Students and Director of Student Code of Conduct, he came up with the idea of coming up with something that would attract males, mainly freshmen and sophomores, before they begin their academic career. So we started it. We got together, had a committee meeting. We had 5 members that actually started a group with Mr. Travis, and then we began to reach out to the African-American men on campus.
Okay, all right. What did you have, Mercedes?
Okay, so when you first started the group, you say you reached out to the African American men on campus.
Yes.
Now, did that just go under just the African Americans, or would you also include the mixed breeds like myself? Because, we click other in that box when we ask about races. So.
Okay, I understand. That's a good question, actually. To be honest, we never faced that situation. We don't have a lot of mixed males on campus. Most of the guys that we did have on campus, or the ones that interacted with us, let's just say that, the ones that we did have were mostly African-American and were coming based out of Leadership Challenge, which was predominantly an African-American organization. Pretty much, Coastal Carolina University is predominantly, Caucasian environment. So we wanted to do something that would empower the African-American students on campus to be driven and to go out and do some amazing things on campus. So that's why we wanted to tagline the African-American men first.
Okay. All right. What did you have, Ray?
Okay, so from my understanding, it's kind of something like if you know the 100-Point Club or the Next Man Up Club.
Okay, I've heard of that.
It's kind of like, is it something like basically motivating young men to better themselves, to help out the community, and to be role models? Okay. All right, I got a better idea.
Yes, and if you ever heard the crab effect, like if you have crabs in the bucket, like they always pull themselves down. And that's one thing that in the African American community, some things a lot of people see is that with our men, we don't encourage each other, we don't show each other the pathway. We just try to make sure that we get there ourselves and not help other men. Most of the guys that were on the steering committee program have already been involved, have already did amazing things on campus. So we wanted to grasp and catch hold of those freshmen and sophomores and show them the path that we took, make it easier on them so they could do bigger things.
Okay. Ariel.
So why do you believe that this will be beneficial to the community? Why do you think that African American males need this in the community?
The African American community has a lot of history, a lot of pain, and a lot of hidden talent.
Right.
if we just reach out to 5 or 6 guys in the community, it's going to start a whirlwind of change in our community. From the sessions that we've done so far, we've touched so many lives, and I've actually seen over 50 and 60 guys actually make a change within themselves. If we could do that on a 9,000 student population campus, imagine what we could do in the city of Conway. Imagine what we can do in Charlotte, North Carolina. Imagine what we can do in Columbia, some of the places that we have traveled to and spoken to guys. And those same guys still call my phone, still call the steering committee's phone, hey, when you guys coming back? And that's just one day of talking. Imagine what we could do if we do this every month or repetitive every year.
Okay.
You say that you are reaching out to African Americans on campus, right?
Yes, yes.
Do you plan on expanding like out into the so-called ghetto or the projects or the hood?
Yes. One thing, you always say if your foundation is not strong, then your house is not going to be strong.
Exactly.
It's going to break down. So before we go tell other guys in the community what they need to do, we need to make sure that we're right. We had some regulations on being in the program. You had to have a certain GPA. We kind of changed that because just because you don't have a high GPA doesn't mean you're not a smart person. So we had to make sure we were good as a foundation, then we were going to go out into the community. Just recently, we did a program at Conway High School. That's pretty much our first set-in-stone program for the year. We talked to about 50 or 60 guys. We saw the effect of that, so now we're going to go forth and do some more programs in the community.
So Robert, we talk about mentorship.
Yes.
Just based on your experience as an African-American male, how essential do you believe programs such as AAIM benefits the community as it relates to African-American males? And the second part is, do you have other adult mentors to come in to mentor you and the other young men in the group?
It's a great necessity in our community. The program itself has made a change on campus. We now get personal recognition from the president of NAACP, the national president. We actually went to Legislative Day on February 26th, and we got national recognition from him from being there. Just from that, I could see the change. Just from the student population, we have guys that were sagging their pants, they're pulling their pants up, they're wearing shirt and ties every day just to go to class and make a stand. Grades have come up, GPAs have risen, definitely making a change. Now for me, I would say that my first mentor was my father. A lot of guys don't have fathers that are African-American males. That's one problem that I do believe.
Right.
Now my father didn't do everything right, but one thing he told me to do is make sure I take care of my family when I grow up and be driven in whatever I do. Make sure I work hard. And I have to say, one guy that's definitely touched my heart is a guy by the name of Canberra Ward. Canberra Ward showed me how to be a man in the environment that I'm in. I've been through so much my 4 years of college, and without the Office of Multicultural Student Services, without having that presence on campus, I wouldn't have made it. So from me giving those experiences or being given those experiences, that's why I want to take it back and teach others how to do that. And if we show love to everybody, man, we can make a powerful change.
Okay. And speaking of change, I know during the break you were talking about something that you adopted from President Obama, the change. And what does that acronym stand for?
The acronym change stands for, well, basically we came up with the word change and making it an acronym, which means we're going to talk about specific things in the community. We want to talk about expectations. We want to first start off with college life. We also want to talk about health issues within our African-American males. Then we went on to talk about academics versus athletics. Then we want to talk about networking skills. That's very important as a young man. And make sure you always present yourself like you applying for a job or going for the job that you want to have when you grow up. Growth in our males, you might not actually, everybody might not see the growth outside, but you know that you're growing inside. So, keep going whatever you do. And then last but not least is E, expectations of our males. So once we go to these schools and do these programs and talk about a day of change, actually they can take that back to their friends and say, hey, man, this is not how we're supposed to do. This is what we really call here to do. This is our purpose.
Wow. I'm loving it. Mercedes?
Okay, so in your AAIM program or mentorship, what exactly do you do to help encourage these men? Like, what meetings do y'all have or anything like that?
It's all based on programming. Programming, that's the thing. If you hear something about a college party, you hear something about a party at the club, and hey, you know who's going to be there, you want to come out. So we get things that actually attract our African-American males. Like we're getting ready to do something called a Night of Champions. We're going to have spades tournaments. We're going to have 2K tournaments. We're going to have Madden tournaments, stuff that we like to do.
Right.
But at the same time, we're giving them a message. Hey, you don't have to go out to the club. You don't have to, do drugs. You don't have to, be around women all the time to have fun. Do something that empower and encourage your brother. We're going to actually stoop down. I'm not going to say stoop down to the level of, some of the people. Well, we're going to actually give them something to draw them in. And then once we draw them in, then we're going to give them a word or a message to say, hey, this is what you need to do. And therefore, we're going to make a change.
Okay. Gabriel?
What goals does this group have for the future?
You know what? To actually speak on goals, I'm a real person. Goals, it's hard for me personally and for the group to set goals. Because if you set goals, that's just as far as you're going to go. I would say we have aspirations and dreams. Dreams have no limit. So if you reach a goal, then you have to make another goal. We just have expectations. I could set a goal for tomorrow, and I might reach that goal, but I don't like to do that. I just like to follow the dream and don't look past goal. You can have one ultimate goal, but it's just wherever the wind blows. Hey, if we get a call to go to Texas to talk to some guys, we're going to do it. Just try to reach as many guys as possible. That's our ultimate dream.
And so you would say the thrust of the message is leading by example?
Leading by example.
Okay, now I know we probably will have some parents that are definitely listening, and unfortunately we don't have a lot of male mentoring going on.
Yes.
So if we have parents that are in the community that would like to have this group come and talk to some young men, I mean, how would we make that happen?
Well, first you just get in touch with Ms. Schofield. You can call the office at the school, Office of Multicultural Student Services. I mean, even if we only have 2 or 3 guys that are able to come, hey, if you tell us, hey, we got a group of guys we want us to come talk to, just kind of give us a message or what's going on, or if it really doesn't even have to be a problem.
Right.
Just want some encouragement for the males. Hey, we'll come. We'll pack up, load up on the van, and we'll be there. That's what we're willing to do.
All right. Mercedes?
Well, I was just wondering about how this is such a male-based mentorship. So do you think that if you change the way guys dress and the way they think about themselves and the way they want to improve their life, that you will actually react the women on how they think about themselves, how they dress, and how they want to act? Because what one attracts, another one will attract too.
Oh, my God. I'm glad
That's
you
good.
asked me that question.
Is excellent.
I really feel that the men in our society control everything. The reason some of our women feel like they do now because we don't know how to treat our women. I really feel like the basis of the male mentoring group, that is one of our goals also. If we change ourselves, that's going to raise our standards, which is going to raise the woman's standards. The reason some of our women drop their standards is because they have to meet us, and that's backwards. Always starting from our history, from slavery, whatever. Our women have always stuck beside us, and we got to stick beside them. So we got to learn how to be men so then we can make good families, and that'll trickle on down to the next generation.
Okay. All right. I know you had something, Ray. What did you have?
She actually took mine.
But I like that. Okay, I like that, setting the standards, because you know people do what you allow them to do.
Yes.
And so I think if your standards are high, then maybe some of the young ladies will step their game up as well.
That's right.
Because we always blaming the men, but I'm glad that you've been given this opportunity to talk about this mentoring program. Yes. You know, I'm a firm believer that I know we're going to continue the conversation in the next segment, but it has to be some type of challenge. Robert, you got involved, and so when we come back in the last segment, I want to know what ignited you to become part of this program, and how we can get other people involved and put a little bit of fire under some of the males in the community.
Yes.
Once again, Horry and Georgetown counties, you're listening to Sound Off. Our very special guest is Robert Harris, who's a senior at Coastal Carolina University and one of the founding members of AAIM, African American Initiative for Males. We'll be right back.